This conference will now be recorded.
Right, let's start today's session. So in the last session, we were discuss about ASP.NET Core MVC CRUD operations using entity framework, that is code first approach we were discuss. So in today's session, I am going to discuss about ASP.NET Core MVC CRUD operations using entity framework database first approach. First of all, I need to give some clarity when we can go for code first approach and when we can go for database first approach. So what is the difference between code first approach and database first approach, we'll discuss here. So the thing is, when we have, first I'm talking about DB first approach. Here this is DB first approach, sir. That means database first approach. So DB first approach, and then code first approach here. Code first approach, code first approach. Two approaches are there, sir. DB first approach and code first approach, like this. DB first approach and code first approach. So when we go for DB first approach, when we have to work in a project where DB is already created, okay. So point number one, when you have, when we have to work, to work, to work in a project, in a project where DB is already created, where database is already created. So when we have to work in a project where database is already created, in that context we can go for DB first approach. When we have to make your application from scratch, then code first approach we can go, sir. Next option is what? When we have to make your application from scratch. When you have to make, when we have to make your application from scratch, then we can go for code first approach. The next point is, when we go for DB first approach, again means when your project is small, and your project is small, then we can go for DB first approach, when the project is small. When you don't have ready-made database, then code first approach we can give, sir. When we don't have ready-made database, then you don't have any ready-made, when we don't have ready-made database, then we can go for code first approach. When we don't have alter DB objects like columns and stored procedures and views, then database first approach also we can go, sir. When you don't have, when we don't have alter DB objects means database tables like columns, columns and stored procedures, SPs, stored procedures and views, stored procedures and views. In this context, we can go for DB first approach. Next, option number 3 in the code first approach. When we have to work with the DB objects frequently, when you have to work with DB objects frequently, DB objects frequently, 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 like creating and deleting tables, okay, like creating, creating, or deleting deleting tables and stored procedures also. In that context, we can go for code first approach. And if you don't want to write classes every time, okay, if you don't want to write classes every time, if you don't want to write classes every time every time, because DB first approach in entity framework will create all the code for the classes only, okay. So even when we don't want to write classes every time, then we can go for DB first approach, because DB first approach in entity framework will create all the code for classes only, all the code for classes, because because in DB first approach, because DB first approach, DB first approach, DB first approach, first in entity framework, in entity framework, in entity framework, will create all the code for classes only here. Will create all the code for classes, we can say all the code for classes. And next, finally, when you have too many tables and views and stored procedures in database, then code first approach is a better. Final one, when we have too many, when we have too many, too many, too many tables, views, stored procedures in database, then we can go for code first approach only. These are the differences between code first approach and database first approach clearly, sir. So DB first approach, when we should go, when we have to work in project where DB is already created, and when your project is looking small, and when we don't have alter DB objects like columns and stored procedures and views, and if you don't want to write any classes every time, okay, if you don't want to write any classes every time, because DB first approach in entity framework will create code for all classes only. So code first approach means when we have to make your application from scratch. So when you don't have already, when we don't have ready-made database, then code first approach is recommend. When we have to work with the DB objects frequently, like creating or altering tables, and when we have too many tables and views in stored procedures in database, then in that context we can go for database first approach. This is DB first approach and code first approach, like this only, sir. Okay. So now we can see, just let me save this, and later we will go to database first approach programming, how to do it today now. So I'm talking about database first approach here, CRUD operations by using database first approach. In this database first approach, what I'm trying to do, just I want to create one table, sir, here. So in the database first approach, compulsory we have to go to database only first. After that, you have to create tables and go back to your tables and create and all. So now we can see in this database first approach, to CRUD operations using entity framework. So first we have to create a SQL table, and then after creating ASP.NET Core Web Application project and install required packages and create a model from existing databases, add controller and test and run your application clearly. This I am doing now clearly step by step in this database first approach. So create a database named any database name, and you can also go to SQL Server Management Studio, and you can create the name of the table, any name, no problem at all. So this is the table structure, sir. Let me copy this table structure. I can create a table in the database first. So let's go to SQL Server Management Studio for creating database, sir. SQL Server Management Studio I'm going. And let's try to create a database. Already we have a database called ASP Core. In that database, I can go through table creation, sir. So let's communicate with SQL Server. Dot server only I connected, Windows authentication, and in this database already we have, this is database ASP Core. Let's copy and paste the script and generate table first now, sir. So let's try to ASP Core only. Let's paste it. Now you can see here, create a table. So table name, you can give any name, no problem at all. So you can see employee master is their table name, but I'm trying to create changing this employee master table into other table. You can take any name of the table, it's not a matter. So right now tables are there here, employees, all these things. Let's try to go for employee table only, sir. Our table name is employee, and employee ID, employee first name, employee last name is there, then just table is creating successfully, sir. This is table creation done. Once table creation is done, sir, so table is created. If you want to see the table also, you can try to see the table by using this query window, sir. Now you can see employee table, refresh it, table is created successfully. The name of the table is what, sir? We are working employee. So this employee table right now you can see edit top 200 rows. Right now there is no records available in this employee table. Employee first name is there, employee ID, employee first name, employee last name is there. These are the table columns are created. This is called DB first approach. So database first approach is created. And next we can create a new ASP.NET Core MVC applications are clearly. These are the steps are there. Screenshots also included here. Let's try to include here. And also we can install required packages. What are the required packages? I'll tell you. So first let's try to create a Visual Studio. Let's go to Visual Studio. And there I'm trying to create a new ASP.NET application, sir. And let's create new project. And after that you just select this programming language like C# and all platforms, and application type you have to select what are actually web application types. I'm selecting web application type and select ASP.NET MVC controller application, and let's click on next, sir. Directly MVC project I'm creating, and application name is web application, but let's try to create that application inside the .NET folder, .NET drive only. In this .NET folder I have created project one. I'm creating project now. So let's select this web application name is web app core MVC DB first. I'm taking means database first approach. Okay, MVC DB FIRST first. This is my project name. Let's click on next. And after that, click on next. Now you can see here I'm trying to deactivate this .NET Core 3.1, and you can say none, or else we can say Windows authentication. Also, you can see this and create it now. So once we created, so now this time you can see it's creating date project here. After creating project, then I recommend to create what we can say install required packages. Now you can see MVC model view template project is created, sir. Then after this, I strongly recommend to create required packages. So let's try to install required packages. Install NuGet packages. Okay, what are the package here? So now you can see uh, you can install packages by using command line also, sir. In SQL Server, install SQL provider by running the following command in the package manager console only. See, normally, generally, up to now, what we followed, so to install packages through design, I followed. But same thing, you can also go to Python Manager console. You can also try to install over there by using install command also, no problem. So now you can see Tools menu and go to here. Uh, uh, Now get package manager, and package manager console is there. No, here also you can install it. So how to install it? Simply you can follow this command, sir. So install -package Microsoft Entity Framework Core SQL Server. Either you can install here also, and or else you can install where in SQL Server Management Studio directly through design also we can do this. I'm copying this one and try to do this installation here. Then how it will be? Look at here, and in the copy paste there is option is available that you can remove this. It's not work. Then you can try to install it, sir, clearly. But this is not better installation because the version also have to select according to this 3.1. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm installing the NuGet packages as usual, our regular process only. So let's go to Solution Explorer and right click on your project, that is web app core MVC DB first. And now you can see go to NuGet package options, manage NuGet package, and you will be able to get this here browse option, and we have to install what actually Microsoft Entity Framework Core SQL Server, sir. So let's try to install Entity Framework SQL Server. This is, and already you know that how to install these steps only. Clearly select this, and I am trying to install the version properly which will work for our 3.1 core framework. That is, I'm trying to install 3.1.0 and click on install it now. So it takes time to install, just a moment. So say okay, and then accept this, and installation is done, sir. This is one thing you have to install it. Then after that, next thing also we have to install, that is Microsoft Entity Framework Core tools are required to install, sir. This also we know that how to install it. Entity Framework tools, sir. Tools you have to install. It's also I'm trying to select it and installing this. So this one I'm selecting and select the version clearly, that is 3.1.0 and click on install it. Now we got that installation process. Let's okay, and then accept, and then install it, sir. So it is taking installation. Done, sir. Once installation is over, then what we need to do, just you can see installation is complete, everything, and close this. And after that, what we need to do, just a step by step approach, then create a model from existing database, sir. If you want to create a model from existing database, now you can see we will use the following scaffold db context command to create a model from our existing database only. To run this, then I strongly recommended to use this one, sir. Here you can see this is in the uh, console manager here. But before this, I want to edit this because the reason is this is not our same code which I'm using in our database. So this is completely different code only. So that's what I'm editing clearly, sir, step by step. So what is this editing is required in the sense, look at this, everything is same, but only the thing is our database is what actually ASP core, sir. In SQL server you can check this, your database name is what, sir? ASP core. So that's what I'm recommending. This ASP core you have to use, database name is ASP core I'm using, and server name is what, sir? Actually dot server I have to use, and db context, this is local server. And this we have to mention, sir. What we have to mention, scaffold hyphen db context server equals to dot database equals to what actually, ASP core trusted connection equals to true, I can say that, and Microsoft dot entity framework core SQL server hyphen output directory models only. This we have to include, where we have to include actually this into Python manager console. Look at here, the first parameter is what actually here, it's a connection string only. First parameter is connection string, sir, and the second parameter is provider name, and third parameter is hyphen output directory is used to determine where our classes will be generated. After running this command, then automatically in this employee ASP core a db context class file which is going to be generated automatically in the models folder only. Let's try to run this same as it is into package manager console, sir. Okay, so how to run this one, in the sense you have to go to package manager console, and there we can run this command, sir. How to go to package manager console, you will know that. So let's go to tools menu, and after that you can go to now get packager manager console, and try to copy paste this. Now we can see this command is very important, scaffold hyphen db context server equals to dot database equals to ASP core trusted connection equals to true. After that, Microsoft dot entity framework dot SQL server output dir models only here. Okay, then let's run this. See this, what's going to happen. Build started. If everything is fine, then it will be execute properly. Build succeeded, sir. Now observe here, after completion of this build succeeded, once you got notification from this window, then you can able to see this automatically. You will be able to get this model classes clearly, sir. So now we can see we can add the controller, but where is the model classes and how it will work? Now you can check out this in Visual Studio and go to here Solution Explorer. You can see this here in the model classes. Sorry, in the model classes, not where is that? Yes, in the model classes you can see automatically generated or not. Just observe here, everything is going to be generated based on our database, sir. So ASP core context file is there, employee model class is created, and other things also created, all files which is related. Okay, previously in my database, whatever the models is there, all models are created, but that's not required for our only. We need to concentrate on employee class, employee ID, employee first name, like this you can see, and app db context also file is created automatically. Previous session we did this manually, but now this time you can see we are giving this automatically, sir. Okay, so now you can see this automatically. This is employee class. This is, you can forget about, this is additional added because in ASP core automatically this previously what we did that also is coming, but this is not required context because this automatically is coming from this model only, because in your database previously we worked, no, so that is what it is coming. Otherwise it's not required actually. So you can ignore this one and you can focus on only what's our employee and app core context.cs only here. Okay, these files are automatically generated clearly in this case because we have used this command in the ASP.NET package manager console only. Now we have to add the controller, sir. To add the controller, why? Because it's an action method. Everything we can do action by using controller only. So right click on controller and go to add controller, select MVC controller with views using the entity framework compulsory. This we have to use this. Okay, let's try to do this controller, and there we can select your DB context file and employee controller class and everything. You can manage this in this window clearly what we did in the previous section only. So let's go to here and go to Solution Explorer and right click on the controllers here. So controllers and go to add here, and now you can see controller I'm taking, controller I'm adding, and in this controller case now you can see select the controller and select the MVC controller with views using entity framework only. What we have shown in the diagram clearly, same thing we have to select it. ASP MVC controller with views using entity framework. So once I select this MVC controller using entity framework, now you can see this and click on add it. So once we add it, it will come here clearly. Same approach, model class. Which is model class? You have to select this model class are compulsory. What is your model class? Employee model class here. This is, and data context file, ASP core data context file. And after that you can see employees controller is there. So in this window same thing is there or not, you can see employee controller, then click on add. Sir, here you can see this. After creating a controller, all CRUD operations for the controller will be automatically generated. So let's create now. Now you can see controller classes also created in this controller folder. You can expand employee controller is there. Employee controller is having clearly read-only property. Async await task results are coming clearly. Everything is working fine, sir. Here automatic generated code clearly available, sir. This is controller class is created. The next step what we need to do, so this class is created clearly, all the controller class is created clearly, sir. Okay, so once we created this all controller automatically, then you can ignore this code because it is auto generated, then run the application. But before run the application, open your context class file. Okay, and you can see this in this code. You can give this comment section, and this you can comment it whatever the code is generated. Let me open the ASP.NET Core context file here. So context file is available in the models. ASP Core context file is created. Now you can see we have clearly added here. So what is that? Use SQL connection that I recommend to copy. This is, now you can see here what they are saying, that before running this application, open your DB context class and comment on the following code present in the on configuring method only. So I'm using on configuring method. So this is on configuring method is available. Yes, is on configuring method is there. This I'm trying to comment now. So just let it be comment this, how we can do this. This is completely we have to comment it here. Okay, let's comment this. What is this? Inside this one, you can comment this I'm commenting, but instead of that we can write the code into where, sir? Okay, comment section. Let's try to do this one. Yeah, let's comment this code. It's not working now this time. So let's go for, instead of this, what we have to do, connection string means compulsory add that following code in the configure service method startup class and then run application. This code already we know that. Let's go to startup.cs instead of doing in the DB context. So startup.cs is important. In the startup.css, inside the configuration services, we have to add the code. What code we have to add? This code we have to add. So now we can see services equals to DB context, then this is only, but our code is completely changed, sir. So that is according to database we have to generate, sir. Okay, let's try to add, sir, here where we have to add here, but this is not correct code, sir, because this is what is our ASP core context only here. This is our class name is ASP core context. It will give error because ASP core context is coming from your application, that we have to include it. And now you can see server name is what, sir, here? Dot server. How to edit. Database name is what, sir? Actually ASP core only. Vector tested connection is what's a true. Why this is not coming? Because of it is missing ASP.NET Core framework. And if you want to rectify this issue, simply you can see this control period. Control period means dot symbol. Automatically it will recommend which framework is which library is required. You can click on it, it will impact on it. Again, when we place mouse pointer, control period. Control period means control dot. You can hit it is recommended to use. Then this is your application. So fine, sir. On the top, your namespaces are added, sir. It is a technique to add namespaces automatically. Control period, control dot, you can click on it. Automatically, it will suggest you. So this will come from which namespace, that namespace is required or not. It will add it clearly here. So once we completed this all things, then what we need to do, finally, you can run the application and check, sir, here. Okay, run the application, check. Automatically you will be able to notice this all design, creation, insertion, deletion. So this is about database first approach through. We are doing all this creation, insertion, deletion, updation, all these things are. This is our database approach through we are doing. Okay, let me close this this I'm not going to change this. Yes, let's first build it. Build successfully done or not, you can check. If any build failed, then you have to notice, so something is wrong. But it is build is succeeded, sir. Once build is succeeded, then run the application and note this point here clearly how to run this. So this is clear step by step database first approach clear. So now we can see we got this output, but where is your code? Actually, you can see this here, desktop home is there and privacy is there, but there is no action method. Nothing is there here. How we can able to run this? Just a moment. I have to go with a link only. So in the layout.html, we have to go through that. So we have to add it, sir, that link. And where we have to do, you can go to layout.html and action method. It is what is there in the controller. In this controller, what is the action method is there, index method is there. That index method we have to use it. So let's go to layout page here. Or else you can go through directly action method. Your controller name is employee controller, index also we can hit this, that also possible, and link also possible, no problem. Let me run this. In this we have to include, sir, what is your action method? Employee. Controller name is employee, index is action method. Now you can see, oh, the localhost cannot be find this page. Oh, sorry, it's not correct. Employee slash index only. So this is also not. Just give me 1 second. What's our action method? Employees. Let's try with this.
You give employee only.
I give employee only, but I have to give employees only. Then I'm going right this. Now you can see create new. It is there. Let's try to create new. So now you can see this is I'm creating. First employee name is Mohan, and employee last name is. Then create it. Then you can see this employee is created or not. It's created, sir. Even you can go to database and refresh this clearly. And I'm trying to go to query designer and execute SQL. Then these records are coming and ID also automatic generated clearly. So this is generated clearly, sir. Same logic what we did in the last session, same, but previously what I discussed, that was code first approach, and make migrations I did, you remember not? So code first approach means first we have written model classes, after that make migrations, automatically database created. But this time you can see database first approach. I have created database table name first in the SQL server, and after that you can we executed scaffolding command, automatically that model class is generated clearly here. So let's run this once again. Again I have to add one more employee, create new, and employee name is Durga, last name is just I'm taking Prasad and click on create, and now created over. So again I'm creating multiple employees, Ram and Rajesh, and last name create. So this is, so editing is possible, sir. Here editing, if you want to go for this editing details, you can also do it editing clearly. So let's execute SQL statements, and now you can see Ram and last name is Rajesh is there. I want to do edit this things. How to do this I want to edit list Kumar and save it now. So it saved that, sir. After that saving, it is completely details. If you want to do this details again, if you want to go for back to list, you can back to list, and you want to delete any records, then you can delete it here. So again, before deleting, it will ask you confirmation clearly, delete only, sir. This is deleted. So you can go back to database and check out here. Automatically, it is deleted clearly, sir. So this is about database first approach clearly, sir. And if you want to arrange this link properly, then what we need to do, just a moment. So I want to arrange this, and I can give this layout page only, just arrangement of this section. So every time I need not to go to URL section, I need not to type that is. So what I need to do, just I can go to view section. In this view section, in the shared folder, layout.html is there. In this layout.html, so I need to go for this link. I want to copy and paste, then I can change my link, sir. This I am copying and pasting into here, sir. And now you can see ASP area controller name is what, actually this is employees controller name. Employees is the controller name, and the action method is available. What method is there? Actually index is the action method. So let's go for index is the action method. Now I'm trying to create what, actually employee employee. That's all. Once we create a layout page, then save it and run this application, and now you can see this automatically the layout page is available, and this layout page immediately, so we got this employee link. So as soon as when we click on this employee link, you can able to navigate that page automatically. Employees controller, we are creating this, and also we can create new, you can new record inserted clearly. This is about ASP.NET CRUD operations using entity framework core with database first approach. So what I did first, sir, first step, I created a database by going to SQL Server. Okay. So here I have clearly documentation. This documentation I'll send to you. So first I create a table, and later I create a new ASP.NET MVC application, and I install two required packages, NuGet packages. One is Microsoft.Entity Framework Core.SQL Server. Next one is Microsoft.Entity Framework Core.Tools. After that, create a model from existing database. To create a model from existing database, what I did, this command is I use, sir. It is very important command. What command? So this command I included. I missed the command, but okay, no problem. I can send that command also into notepad script. So this command is very important, sir. This command I'm copying and pasting into this db file, so that I can able to set that. Even I discuss in today's session db first approach and code first approach. When do we use, clear information I have given. So later you can read it, and you can see this this command I need to pass into package manager console. Scaffold db context, server name is what, actually dot server according to our requirement. Database name is what, actually ASP core is there, ASP core, and trusted connection equals to true. After that, Microsoft entity framework core dot SQL server hyphen output dir models only. So this command we need to use into where? In the package manager console. In the package manager console, whenever we execute this scaffold command, automatically what will happen, uh, whatever the database is available, that database model through, actually the problem is in this ASP core database, so many database tables are there. All database tables model classes will prepare. So that's what we noticed, that in our project also you can see in the model folder. So we expected that only employee model, but along with teacher model also there, user registration model also there. In my previous section, I discussed about this model separately. That model through also model classes created, but that's not required. Okay. In your database, how many are there? You can create. So how it will possible to create? In the tools menu, package manager console. Here I included this commands are already have included. You can see scaffold hyphen db context, server equal to dot, database equals to ASP core, trusted connection true, Microsoft Entity Framework dot core SQL Server hyphen output dir models only. This command through automatically what generated? Model classes generated. Model classes after generated, what I did, I have added controller. How I have added controller? So this is the same steps, sir. We have added controller and make it scaffold. Automatically controller action method will be generated. And in that last final step is we can go to startup and add the connection string clearly here. This connection string too we can communicate with the database, and database insertion, deletion, updation we did completely here, sir. So this is about database first approach what I discussed in this session. In the next session we will go for other concept, or else if possible I'll go for, I'll check it whatever the concepts are there related to entity framework core MVC again, and if any important concept then I'll cover that. Otherwise we'll go through immediately web API concept we'll discuss in next session.